Well, if there's an opportunity to put a smile on a face, I'm going to take it. And I promise that's the only little Sandra magic I have in the videos, guys. Welcome to our Sunday gathering, everyone. Of course, it's Monday morning for our friends down under. I'm Sandra Champlain, if we haven't met yet. I am a longtime pioneer in the world of, what it means to be human. Is there an afterlife? And oh, yes, there is. And I'm joined by my wonderful friends, Kerry McLeod and Phil Dykes today. Our friend Darren is with Scott Milligan. It is his 40th birthday. So they are just having some fun, as they should, and not with us today. We started our Sunday gathering, I think it was March 29th, 2020, out of some dark times when COVID hit. And we know that times have changed, which is good, but we also know for many of us, dark times will come. And when I talk about dark times, I mean having a loved one who is unhealthy or loved one pass into the afterlife, into the spirit world. And with that, it's so good to have a reminder, not only that you're not alone, but that our loved ones live on. We'll do the best we can to help you through grief and be there to support you. So each week we try to put a smile on your face. We try to inspire you. We have a different theme every week. Kerry will tell you about it in just a moment. But we are here as a community, a global community of little sparkly lights all over this globe, and we join at this time. So I really want to say welcome. So over to you, Kerry.
Thank you very much, Sandra, and welcome everybody, whether you are live with us today or whether you're watching the recording. Welcome. Now, I chose the theme for today as being you and being happy. And when I think about times when I'm not happy, the film that kind of puts a smile on my face is Mamma Mia, because it brings me memories of sitting watching it with my daughter. There's some songs, if you know the film, you might know which songs they are, which remind me of my daughter growing up. There are memories that remind me of times with my own parents, and there's there's scenes that remind me of being with friends. And that film seems to gather it all together. And no matter what's happening in the moment, one of the songs seems to put a spring in my step and a smile on my face. And just in that moment takes my mind away from what's happening in my life and transports me into the sun, onto a Greek island as I join the film Mamma Mia. So today we're going to have a few more songs, and I've chosen, instead of a reading, I've chosen some wise words from a gentleman who inspired me from a very, very early age, a gentleman who has now moved to the spirit world, a gentleman called Wayne Dyer. He was such an inspiration for me in my very early days and continues to be that for me. So the reading will be delivered by Wayne Dyer and the address will be delivered by myself. The mediumship, I've asked Phil to deliver that, and Sandra's going to be supporting Phil in the background, and also we'll be doing words of the week at the end. So allow me now to open up this service in prayer. Eternal Spirit, today as we gather within this Sunday gathering, we move into that power of love and joy, of happiness and of healing, with the music and the thoughts allowing us to move ourselves into a better place within our minds. Today, as we look at how to be happy, what is happiness, we recognize that spark within us, that spark of knowing that we are all joined. We're joined in a network of love. We're joined as a network of souls coming together within a community. So allow today to represent for you something that takes you into a place where you can recognize that happiness within self. Allow yourself to think happy thoughts, be in a happy place that will change your thoughts from where you are to moving forward. Amen. Now we're going to move into the part where we're going to ask Wayne Dyer to deliver our reading for today. The words of Wayne Dyer allow us to move into a moment of healing. And that healing, we're going to send to the people you would normally send healing to, but also use the intention of allowing yourself to get a sense of what music is within you and what purpose you have, and allow that healing moment to inspire you to live that purpose. That's a beautiful song from the second Mamma Mia film. And it reminds us about that journey of life and that journey that we all take through life. If I were to ask you, how would you know when you were happy? Could you tell me? On your journey through life to where you are now, have you recognized when you've been at your happiest? Have you recognized when you've had that happy space and that spring in your step and that glow from your face that tells everybody that you are enjoying life? On my journey through life, I've often missed the times that I was most happiest. And it's only on reflection that I've recognized it. In the past, in my teens, my 20s, I found myself measuring my happiness based on what I had, who I had in my life, what I'd achieved, who I was. And then something changed. In my late 20s, a spiritual happening took place. Couldn't tell you the day, couldn't tell you the creation of it, but I knew something was changing. I remember somebody in the spirit, who's in the spirit world now, said to me, he said, every beginning requires an ending. And when the ending's taking place, it feels like the world is coming to an end. And it's only when you step on the road anew that you recognize that there's a start there, that there is a beginning there. Now, this gentleman, who I respect so much, was quoting another person, but when he spoke to me in that way, it touched my soul. I recognized that I was measuring my happiness on something outside. And it was at that point that I came across the gentleman that did our reading for us, Wayne Dyer. His words to me spoke to me. Everything I've read, everything I've heard, I know it's freely available on the internet, his videos and his talks, but way back all those decades ago, it was his books and his audiobooks. I would listen to his audiobooks on my long drives. At that point, I was traveling within the UK for my paid employment, and I would pop the CD in the car and I'd listen to it over the long journeys. And Wayne Dyer went on every single journey with me. He spoke a truth. And I recognized that I was listening to his words, but I wasn't changing. It's as if by osmosis, I expected this change to happen just because I was listening to him. I was passively being inspired. I was recognizing that within myself, what he said was true. And in that moment, I was feeling happy. But all too quickly, when I got out my car, my world shifted back to how it was before. And I recognized when I got back in my car that I was living almost two lives. One where Wayne Dyer was talking to me, and another when he wasn't. And that's when I realized that actually I needed to live that life for me. I needed to recognize who I was as I lived the words that he spoke. So I stopped trying to change and be happy through osmosis. I stopped trying to portray that happiness. And I actually started to realize that I could only be happy in the moment. I could only be happy with what I had in that very moment that was happening. I realized over my long journeys and my long drives that actually I was planning my happiness in the future, on holidays, on annual leave. Remember that 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, get to the weekend and I'll be happy. I recognized that that life wasn't really making me happy at all, because I was living for something that was in the future, and I couldn't at all continue to live like that. I was trying to get to a place where I would be happy. And it's only then that I recognized I actually wasn't happy in the moment. And it's when I took the decision to look at what was happening to me in that moment and how I could change it, I then got to what I felt was a freeing space, but an incredibly difficult space to be in, because it meant I had to change. You know, that feeling of, oh, should I step into the room of change, or should I stay in the room that's familiar but is making me unhappy? And it's that point that I started thinking about, what am I going to do? You know that place. What am I going to do? Could be A, could be B, maybe C, maybe D. You look at all the options, you think about it, you ponder, and then you go back to good old room where you're familiar. And I found that I procrastinated. Maybe you can recognize that. When you've got so many different thoughts, you're not sure which one to take. And then you end up just staying where you are, always doing what you always did. That's when my second aha moment happened, many years later, when I recognized that I actually needed to make a huge change. And that was when me and the spirit world became closer and more entwined, where I began to believe that I was actually meant for something more than the corporate world, something more than what I'd been up till then. I recognized within myself a stirring, something taking place. You know that feeling where you get impatient. My gran used to say ants in your pants. When I couldn't sit still, I was moving around, I was getting impatient, I was getting really frustrated at other people. But that's when I listened to Wayne Dyer, and he said something in what we listened to earlier. When we point outside and we get frustrated and we get offended by other people, that's when I recognized I'm not happy where I am. I'm blaming others. I'm looking at others to make me happy and give me a happiness that I can pin my future onto. Have you ever been in a place where you knew there was more to come, but you weren't sure what steps to take to get there? That was the space I found myself in. And I've always sat within the power, or some of you might call it meditation. And in that space where I was sitting, I felt the words. I never heard them, but I felt the words, do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. Now, at a very young child, I was a lone parent at that point, and everything logically said, stay where there's stability, stay in the good job with the good salary. But my soul wanted more. So I started looking at what Wayne Dyer talks about as living on purpose, knowing where you're going and having a purpose there. I remember speaking to Sandra when we first met, and Sandra spoke about how she lived her life on purpose, how the next step didn't always show itself. And I felt a synergy with that, and you might too. But then the next question is, well, what's my purpose? How will I know it? How will I be able to do something with passion if I don't know what my purpose is? Well, it's what makes you happy. Now, you won't know straight away what makes you happy until you begin to step into the unknown. And that can be a really uncomfortable place to go. But as I stepped more and more frequently into the unknown, I actually began to become more comfortable with that space. It actually strengthened me and built my resilience to being able to move forward. But I had to build a trust in me. I had to build a trust in not waiting anymore. You recognize that place of knowing that you're done waiting, that you actually have to step forward into a goal or a dream. And actually, it doesn't matter whether the goal or dream you have in your mind right now is the one you end up achieving. It's whatever steps you into that space that creates the place for new things to happen. When you step into that new place, the universe gets excited and the universe gets behind you. All your loved ones, all your family members, your friends, your team in the spirit world get behind you and they give you a power to move forward. I remember feeling it. It was this unknown power to achieve things that I did not think were achievable. And to this day, I still believe in the power of having a vision. That vision isn't always the one I end up achieving, but it's always the one that keeps me moving forward. In 2008, I said to the spirit world, okay, the rest of my days will be in service to you. All I will ask is that my family are safe and healthy, and that it's not detrimental me being in service to you on them. All I ask is that I have enough to be able to feed those that depend upon me, and that I have the space to still be me. I don't want to become personalityless. I don't want to become this person who is so tunnel vision that she can no longer see that dream or that goal. And every time I lose a little bit of direction, I go back to that, because for me, that's my true north. My true north is the spirit world. Not that I want to get there before my time, but my true north is always, how can I be in service? What do the spirit world need? And I've never been let down. I've never had more than I've needed in terms of financial resources, in terms of health, but I've never been without either. True to their word, wherever I stepped, the universe has always created a space, because I believe in the power of having a goal and a dream. I believe in never having too much, but always having enough. And I believe in making a difference. If you have a similar belief or dream to that, if you start to think about what that world would look like, I wonder what would happen. If you focused all your time on that and not on all the reasons that it might not happen, I wonder what might happen. I wonder if you took away the fear and stepped into your purpose, I wonder what would happen. If we believe in what we're doing, I've recognized that somebody out there hears it, that somebody out there feels it, and that somebody else other than me believes it. When two or more people believe in something, it tends to happen, it moves forward. If it is in the right direction for the right reasons. I've never been somebody who wanted lots of money. I've never been somebody who wanted the huge comforts that others might want. I've always aimed to live my life on purpose. That is my passion. That is what my purpose is to be able to be in service and not expect more than what I feel is necessary. Now, don't get me wrong, there has been some beautiful, wonderful gifts and treasures and extras that I've been given along the way. And I am so grateful for it. You know, these things where you get a gift from somebody that you never expected, or you get a word from somebody that you never thought would come, or you find a little bit extra in your bank account that you didn't think you were expecting. Those are the extra things, but that's not why I do what I do. I do it because it's my true north. It keeps me moving forward. It makes me happy. And what I found is in this moment, doing what I do makes me happy. If you find that something that makes you happy, imagine if you could do that more often. Imagine if you could take a step forward and trust that everything that you were doing was making you happy, even the things that you might not like. Now that seems weird. And for a while I found it very difficult, but I listened to the words of Wayne Dyer, and he speaks about even the things that are frustrating, that you don't like, find happiness in them. For when you find happiness in the moments that are frustrating or difficult, you will move quicker through that with a positive mindset into the stuff and the things that make you happy. I realized that I'm happy being right where I am in the moment, regardless of what the experience is. I'm not looking forwards, I'm not looking backwards, I'm not looking side to side. I'm not wishing my moments away. It's about the journey. I remember Buddha speaking. I read about Buddha and he spoke about you can light a candle from another candle, and that candle is one of happiness. The life of that initial candle is not diminished or shortened by sharing that light of happiness to everybody else. So picture this. You feel happy. You are happy. You walk into a room and you share that happiness and that joy. You touch other people. You share that light of happiness. It's only when you absorb other people that it diminishes your happiness. You can be happy in moments where life is difficult. You can. You just have to be prepared to look at the happy moments in that moment. You have to be prepared to not look anywhere else and to not be looking at anybody else, because other people will always have more or better. They might also have worse and less, but they will always be perceived as having better. For you, this moment is your happiest moment if you allow it to be. In difficult times, and we know you have difficult times, find a way to be grateful for this breath that brings you life. Soon it will be your turn and my turn to go to the spirit world, hopefully not too soon, but at some point it will be our time to go to the spirit world. And I imagine when I get there, I'm going to find all the happy moments that have brought life to me and all the happy moments that I've shared with other people. And then I'll see all the happy moments that I've gained from the people that I had about me and around me. See the happiness now. Find the film, find the piece of music, find the person, and acknowledge within yourself the moments that bring happiness to you. Don't wait until it comes. Don't look to the future. Be happy now. So my initial question is, how will you know that you are happy, and what will you do about it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kerry. It's as if you wrote that just for me or delivered that just for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we're all over the world, but press your raise hand button if that talk from Kerry made a difference. Because I'm clapping over here, Kerry. All hands are raised. Thank you so very, very much for touching my soul and other souls, not only through your words just now, but bringing us Wayne Dyer, creating the beautiful theme and the healing music. It's just precious, really. What a gift. So you are on your true north path, my friend, and you are doing your job. So thank you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for raising your hand. We are going to move into our demonstration of mediumship now, and it's just an opportunity to show you that the two worlds really are together. As a human being, it's so easy to think, oh, is the afterlife real? Is this all my imagination? It's not. We live in a magnificent universe, and we are all divine souls. Right now, we are having this human experience, but our loved ones are having another experience. And they have an added bonus that they can be in our world. They can be with us as we interact. They can feel our love. And for us, it's not so easy. You know, they communicate through their thoughts and feelings, and we might think it's just their imagination when it's them doing everything they can to say, hey, I'm still here. So we love to do a demonstration of mediumship, and Phil will be our medium today. And if this is your first time with us, I'll tell you how it goes. And if you've joined us before, just a little refresher course. Phil and Kerry both are longtime mediums, and they're tutors as well. They teach our weekly classes. And they have worked and have a wonderful relationship with the spirit world, and have, as Kerry said, given their life to doing this, to really honoring people and letting their voices be heard again through them. So Phil will have a spirit person connect with him. Now there might be, we're 150-ish people here today in our Zoom room, and there could be several thousands of them in the spirit world, all joined together. Oh, it's Sunday gathering time. They know exactly who's here. They do. They can be by your side, and they can be popping into Phil's mind to work with him as well. But they're together, and they have this nifty way of letting us all know by a few representatives that all of our loved ones are around. So I know each one of us hopes and prays that it's our loved one that comes through this time. And while it may be, it may not be, but the words that come through are so valuable for all of us, that they're here with us, they're witnessing what it is we're doing, that they live on, that they're happy, they're healthy, they're whole, they're still real people, there's no aches and pains, they are restored in health, they can be any age they want. So listen to the messages and take them on as your own, because they are working together, just as Kerry, Phil, and I are working together. So you'll hear Phil give a couple initial bits of information about the spirit person who is in contact with him. And once he does that, we want you to think about that. Do you recognize 100% of the information as somebody that you know that no longer walks this earth? Could be a friend, could be a family member. Sometimes it's a little bit distant, a person that you say, oh, I know who that person is, even though maybe I didn't know them that well. But if you can take 100% of the information about the person he is describing, we want you to press your raise hand button. If you feel like pressing it again right now, you certainly can, just to know exactly how it works. And then it'll shift again to lower hand, and you can put your hand down. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes to decipher who this person in the spirit world is here for. Sometimes some loved ones, there's some similarities there. But once we know who this person is here for, we're going to ask you to unmute yourself. Now, you don't see the unmute button yet. That takes me doing a little Sandra magic on my side and pressing a button so that you can speak. If you are someone who works with Phil today, we just need you to do one of three things. He'll be giving some information to you. Let him do the work. Let him do the work. Let me say it one more time. Let him do the work. All we need from you is a response, yes, no, or I don't know. So yes, I can understand that information. No, no, I can't. Or I'm really not sure. No just means a new opportunity, and Phil will dig back into the information the spirit person has given him, and we'll work through that. So it's really quite easy. And we know you get excited, you want to share, but we want everybody leaving our Sunday gathering today knowing that it was the spirit world working through Phil, and it wasn't you who volunteered all this information. Okay, but just know all of our loved ones are around. They're right there in that room with you. They are I think they get excited like we get excited. I really do. So with that, we'd like to play a piece of music just before we start the demonstration. It's just an opportunity to feel good. And yes, it is another song from Mamma Mia. But just sit, enjoy, dance if you want, but just celebrate your loved ones. They are perfectly well and they're happy, and it's a nice reunion. Okay, so let me find the song and play it for you. And then we'll have Phil when we come back. You gotta love a little dancing queen. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Kerry, for the music. Hi, Phil.
Hello, Sandra Champlain. How are you?
Good. I was dancing in my seat. I was.
Me too. Me too. I had to close my eyes because there's a few scenes there that do make me laugh, and I thought if I get uncontrollable, I have to get myself composed and everything. Okay, Julie Walters just makes me laugh, and she just has to speak, and she's got me. There we go, sort of thing. So it's a pleasure to be here as always. I know we weren't here last week. We were away in Santa Fe doing a little bit of virtual online work for them, but also on this Friday just gone, we were doing a live demonstration as well on what it was like to be amongst people. And I was telling everyone about the Sunday gathering, and do you know what they said? We already knew about it and we watch as well. So absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Sandra. Wonderful theme and wonderful energy to work within and actually be part of as well. And I nearly pressed one of the buttons to show you Kerry dancing. I thought, no, better not, sort of thing. I get in trouble with that, okay? Because she does like a little bit of a boogie woogie to that film, but there we go. So anyway, just as I begin to become aware of the spirit world, I want to talk about Sister in the spirit world. And I know with Sister, there would be memories of where we used to dance to music, but also sing into the hairbrushes as well as that child. But I just feel that there was also memories of where we used to go out together. And I get the impression of singing karaoke as well. So I know here, but I also want to be talking maybe just about that sort of Mamma Mia music, Dancing Queen, ABBA that we would have sung. So I want Sister in the spirit world, and I know that we would have sung together as well. I'm not saying professionally, but I feel it was just something we did unique together.
Okay, this is the opportunity, if you can understand that information, to press your raise hand button, please. No hands raised just yet, Phil.
Okay, we'll just wait a second, because I do feel that I've got Sister, and I know it's important about singing together, and I know there should be memories of singing. In fact, I've got something a little bit wrong here. I want to change the Sister I felt. I actually feel I want to be with Daughter, and I tell you why I felt it was Sister, because I know the relationship I had with my mother, we were like sisters, but I know there should be memories of singing together, almost in the house with the hairbrushes.
All right. We have Stacy with her hand raised. Stacy, if you could press your unmute button.
Hello.
Oh, and Valerie just put up her hand as well, Phil.
So, Stacy, I'm just going to check in with you. Do you have Daughter in the spirit world?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant you were looking for a daughter. No, I do not.
I was originally, I thought it was Sister. When I got nobody hands, I went back in, and it just felt I wanted to talk about Daughter, but we were close like sisters. So just hang in there, Stacey. Let's see who else we've got in there as well.
Okay, we have Elaine. Elaine, hello.
Oh.
Hello, Elaine. Would I be right in saying you have Daughter in the spirit world, and there would be memories of singing together, almost into the hairbrushes?
Not necessarily into hairbrushes, but we did sing together.
You did sing together. Let me just have a look at this for a second. Then if I've got it wrong, would you understand where we sang together? It was great fun. We had a laugh.
Yes.
Because that's the picture that's painting within my mind. With your Daughter, would you understand where she would light up the room? She would just light everybody up.
I believe so.
And with your Daughter as well, I just feel there was never a dull moment in these situations.
Correct.
But I also feel with her, she was a quite selfless young lady. She thought about others.
I believe so.
But what I'd be right also saying, there's either where we used to sing musicals together, because I keep on hearing the Mamma Mia songs.
Oh, we sang a lot of different things together.
Okay, because I know it just feels like they're all upbeat, and it just feels where I want to be almost were your daughter, and when you sang, it would transport you into a different world, a different life.
Yes.
It brings a great sense of joy as well. And I also want to say that it's almost, you would have memories with your daughter doing this where her whole face lights up, her eyes are very alive.
Yes.
And I know this is how she seems to come through. It's just that impression of who she is. Now, I'm not saying that she always lived like that, because I know there was low moments for her, but I just feel that where she could, she was always would be positive.
Yes.
And would I be right in saying that she took part in musicals at school?
Yes.
And would I be right in saying, I'm not saying she had the lead role, but she would be up there and there were solos?
I don't know if she did the solos at school, but other times.
Other times, because again, I just keep on feeling that I could sing in front of groups of people, and I felt it was a lot, and that's
Very
why I
much.
felt it was school. Understand?
Yes, not
Good.
at school as much as other places.
Okay, that's fine, because I just get that sense. But she must have always had a talent or a knack for drama and that singing, those almost like those arts, performing arts.
Yes.
And there's just a knack here. Would I be right in saying, even when she wasn't trying to be the center of attention, because I never felt she did, but she just drew people in, you would have memories when she was just getting on with everyday life in a room, singing herself? Just around the house?
When she was little, more.
That's fine, because I know here, these are the memories of being, so I know I'm going back, as you said, when she was little, but she just had this unbelievable knack of just inspiring people. But would I be right in saying, even when you mentioned she was little, she just had a way of entertaining herself?
Yes.
And if I said she made her own lyrics up, I'm not saying she sung songs, but I just felt she made her own lyrics up at times as well.
Probably.
And I know I'm going back to those younger years as well. But I have to go back. Would I be right in saying you still have a hairbrush of your daughter's?
Yes, actually, I do.
Because I know she keeps on giving it me, and I'm saying, well, I've done that bit, but she kept on throwing at me. So I also know that she could be quite a strong-minded young lady as well.
Very much.
Yeah, and it just feels here. And would I be right in saying you've still got a perfume of hers as well?
Yes, I do.
And I know you wear it at times.
I have a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Good, because I know she brings this to my mind as well. Would I also be right in saying you've still got bits of her jewelry as well?
Oh, yes.
Because it just feels here, I can see earrings and rings and things. Now, I'm not saying that they're valuable, but for you, they're priceless.
Very much.
And would I be right in saying at times when you felt low, you've actually gone through a jewelry and everything else, and it seems to bring you closer?
Very much so.
But I want to say there must be memories where you spent quality time with your daughter, just brushing her hair and talking to her.
Yes.
Because it feels where we're not brushing it for brushing its sake. It just feels like it's a little bit of ritual, me and you time with your daughter.
Yes.
Would I also be right in saying that you still have blouses and tops of your daughter's, her clothes?
Yes.
And would I also be right in saying you've still kept school books and other memorabilia as well?
So much. Yes.
Because it just feels nothing of mine has gone. And I know some people say about sometimes we move on, but I don't want to say that at all, because it feels here you get so much from keeping all her stuff. It brings you so much healing as well.
Yes.
But I also know I want to go back to the clothes for a second, because it feels here sometimes you smell them to get that scent of hers.
I may have. I haven't thought about that.
Well, let me put it this way. I can see you doing this as well. But I know in the early days, you would have either gone in her room and sat and reflected and gone into memories about her as well.
Yes.
And I know you still talk to her every day. And I know you've been asking to hear her and see her as well.
Yes.
And would I be right in saying with your daughter, she had a good sense of humor? She could do things off the cuff?
Yes.
Because she keeps on going boo, almost to get my attention. So I know here that she just is still very much alive, still has that personality. But I also want to go back to the singing for a second. I should be right in saying that she could sing any sort of song.
Oh, yes.
Because I know it was a few weeks ago, it was my theme in Greece. I keep on hearing different tunes from Greece as well. So I know here, it didn't matter what era, what genre, if it was catchy, your daughter would catch on and sing it.
Very much so.
But I also know your daughter was strong-minded, strong-willed. And once she got something in her mind, she gets me to have the feeling she would always get her way.
She, yeah, probably more than I'd like to admit.
And would I be right in saying she would pester you, Elaine, to get her way?
I would have to think on that.
Bear with me 1 second then. Would you understand where she had little things that would annoy you and she'd do them deliberately, not in a bad way, but just to tease you and wind you up a little bit? She knew your buttons, which to press.
That's probably true.
I know,
don't
because
focus on that, so it's hard to remember.
She keeps on singing to me, I know a song that gets on your nerves, and I know this is what she's doing. She's really playing these to highlight what she could do as well.
She did that to you once before.
Okay, so because I know there's just this impression with her as well, but there's a sense with your daughter of real humility and real understanding. So for somebody so young, she had a good head on her shoulders and she was quite wise, and she could interact with people at all kinds of different levels.
Yes.
And I also believe she was an intelligent girl and she achieved quite a bit at school as well.
Yes.
That's fine. I know I talked about the hairbrush, but would I be right in saying you have a lock of her hair?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. She's been a little, and she could be a little bit cheeky at times, a little bit to the point, but not offensive. Because I've been noticing I've got little grey hairs, and she's also making me aware of yourself. Understand?
Oh, yes.
And she's just highlighting. That's the politest way I could put it, because she just is herself as well. She wants you to know she has no regrets of life. She wants to live life and still is in that vein and still very much living. And she wants you to be in that essence of life as well, and very much living life to the full. And again, with your daughter, she must have liked to travel as well. She must have liked holidays.
Yes, she loved that.
Because she's taking my mind and to places. And again, I'm in the States, but I feel like I want to go everywhere and see everything and explore it. It's almost like I have a desire to tick things off, not a bucket list, but tick places off that I've been to.
Yes, she loved to travel all different places.
Because I just feel here she still wants you to travel and she wants to go with you to tick a few more off as well. So I'm going to leave you with that.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to leave your daughter's love. I'm going to leave that lovely voice she has, but also know that at times when you used her hairbrush, she's been there with you. And I know sometimes you still sing around the house, little ditties and little songs. She's aware of that also. So I know she's around you as much as she possibly can. And with that, I'm just going to let you know she loves you and say thank you very much for allowing me to do that.
Thank you so much, Phil. I really appreciate it.
You're absolutely welcome, my dear. You're absolutely welcome. Nice to speak to you again. Good.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Phil.
Good, good, good. She hasn't gone anywhere. All I can hear is this tune. I used to have a work colleague that used to sing that to me. I've got a song that gets on your nerves, and I know it just plays in my mind. That's fine here as well. Okay. All right. I know that I have a gentleman here, and I know his father. I also believe with father that he's got a very good sense of humour, and I'll come back to that in a second. But I do believe he had his own business, and I do believe he was a mechanic, engineer, and I know he would turn his hand to different things. But I also feel with him that he also could have a little bit of a spark of life in him. And I know the person I want to talk to would remember Dad as he's working, singing to himself as well.
Thank you, Phil. All right. Who recognizes this information? If you would please press your raise hand button.
And you know what? I'm going to go for a cup of tea and come back. No, I know that I've got Dad. I feel it's Dad. And I know that he would have had his own business. And I do feel, oh, I might have made a mistake there. I'm not going to change the mechanics or anything. Bear with me 1 second here, ladies and gents, while I just look at what I think I understand. I want to talk about Dad in the spirit world. And if it's not his own business, I know he would have had a love for fixing engines, any engines, and there would be memories where he would sing to himself as he's fixing these engines.
Does this resonate to anyone? No
And I
hands
actually
up yet.
feel I want to be talking to his daughter. I know I need to be talking to a lady.
All right. We have Donna with her hand raised. Let's bring her in. Donna, hello.
Hello,
Hello,
Donna.
Phil.
Hello, Donna. Can I key you just for a second?
Yes, hi Phil.
Okay, so hello. So I'm struggling to hear you. I'm just going to turn the volume up a little bit. It's a bit of a bad line. So you understand? Okay, it's all right. So you understand Dad in the spirit world. Now, I know I've given you contacts before, but with your dad, would you understand where he used to have a love of fixing engines, a hobby of fixing engines?
He used to fix the engines on his boats.
Thank you for telling me that, because my next statement would be boats. Okay, but would you understand where he loved to sing to himself as he's doing it?
He worked alone, but I believe he was quite a happy man.
Okay, something's not quite feeling right. Thank you for coming forward, Donna. Just stay there, but I know that I want to be speaking to somebody, but I do feel what she said about the boat is right, so I might be coming back to you if nobody else comes forward. There's nobody else coming forward, Sandra.
No. Oh, Lisa and Michelle have raised their hands.
Can we bring Michelle in, please, if we can?
Yes. And Michelle, if you could press your unmute button. Michelle is looking for her unmute button. Michelle, can you find your unmute button? Hopefully, there you are. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Michelle. Do you understand what I've said about Dad in the spirit world, that he would have fixed engines and boats as well, but I also know he would have been quite happy and he would have sung to himself?
Not so much boats, but engines maybe, but he also liked to sing to himself an awful lot.
Okay, that's fine, because I just want to look at, but would you understand where I talk about engines, he could turn his hand to different kinds of engines?
Yes.
That's fine. That's where I want to be. So hope the other guys just hang there in the background just in case. But with your dad, would you understand where he was always quite upbeat?
Yes.
And with your father as well, it just feels that, how can I put this? He wouldn't change for anyone.
Never.
Because again, because it just feels I am who I am, and it feels like I've got a song for that. And it just feels that I'm just going to be the same person and plod along and do the same things because I'm a happy wee soul, and I do what makes me happy.
Yes.
Do you understand? I'm struggling to hear, so there might be something wrong on our side. But with your dad as well, would I be right in saying he had a personality that affected others? His positivity rubbed off?
Yes, very much.
Because again, it's just this sense, but I just feel that even with people around him, even if he didn't know them, he would still be exactly the same.
Definitely.
And I want to say, not just where he was fixing things, but even around the home, you would hear him singing at times.
He always sang.
That's fine, because again, there's just this impression of it. But I just feel with your father that he also not just was singing and being positive, it's almost like he had an answer and an understanding for everything in life.
Yes, always has an
Because
answer.
it just feels that you could talk to him about anything and he wouldn't judge you. He would take time and look at it and understand it and come back with quite some unique or positive answer to it.
Sometimes.
Bear with me. Would I be right in saying if somebody had a problem, he'd always have an answer, he'd always be able to fix it?
Yes.
Because I just have that mindset that I won't let anything bother me. And if something wants to be fixed, I'm just going to change that slightly, because it feels with him that he wouldn't see a problem. He'd just look at it in a different way, like Wayne Dyer would say, change the way you look at it, and he would have that answer for it. So I know he had that unique ability to solve problems, just almost like at a drop of a hat, because he looked at things differently.
Yes.
And would I be right in saying where we used to live, Michelle, there would be, where we live was towards the end of a street, end of a road?
Yes.
And where we used to live there would be either views of hills and things?
No.
Bear with me. Then where you live now, can you see hills from where you live?
No.
Because he's taking me to, in fact, let me hold that for a second. Would I be right in saying where he was raised, there was hills round him?
Yes.
Because I know I couldn't change it each time I went back. So I also know your mind could be, your father could be, your dad could be strong-minded, and he wouldn't change things. And it's almost like he's proud of his upbringing.
Very much.
Would I be also right, with your dad's upbringing, there would also be singing around him as well?
I don't know.
Because I just feel there should be either choirs, and I want to talk about men's choirs.
No.
I know you said no to me, Michelle. Your father, would I be right in saying he was from Wales?
Yes.
Because I keep on going to the valleys and I keep on hearing men's choirs. And if I'm not mistaken here, your dad wasn't the most religious. Would that be correct?
Correct.
But there seems to be within his mindset a memory of going to church, though.
Don't know.
You don't know, because it just feels here where I'm hearing choirs and I feel I'm in churches. But would I also be right with you, Michelle, that it's you that likes the musicals?
Not really.
Not really. Bear with me. Something not right here that I'm not understanding, and I'm trusting you because you give me good solid no's, but I know there's something here I've got that I'm not bringing across properly. So just work with me for a second here. Thank you. In your past, would I be right in saying at school you were part of a choir, or you went for an audition for a choir?
I don't know.
You don't know? Because I know within Dad's mind, I've got all these memories and I keep on getting choirs and I can't. Would I also be right in saying that Dad didn't just like to sing, he liked his music?
He did.
And would I be right in saying he would have the old vinyl records as well?
He hasn't.
But somebody else has?
Yes.
Because I know I keep on singing. Now, I also know I'm going back because I've got the old 78s.
No.
Do you understand? You don't understand that? Because I know there's the old records here, but I know Dad, would I be right in said Dad used to like Elvis?
No.
Because I know, okay, and wrong person. Would I be right in saying he liked Tom Jones?
Yes.
Because I know here I'm hearing some of the records by Elvis, but I know Tom Jones has sung them, and I know this is where he seems to have that voice. But I also believe with your dad, where I said he was very much his own person, if I said that you took him as you found him as well.
Yes.
Because I know for nobody he won't change, and even where you've given me good solid no's, he won't change. This is his mindset as well. But I know he comes forward to bring that upliftment, and it just feels that remembering your dad singing brings you a positivity and brings you a joy.
It does.
Because I get that sense here. But I know nobody's over 21 on We Don't Die, but would I be right in saying that you would have memories as a child singing with your dad? He would sing with you?
Yes, I do.
Because it just feels I want to bring you those joyful memories here as well. So I'm going to leave you his love, but just know that he's there and he's helping you through whatever's happening at the moment, trying to keep your chin up and your mind in that positive place. And it feels like I want to sing, and it feels like I want to go through those musicals as well. And I know he said no to that, but I just keep on hearing Mamma Mia and different things. So I know here he's just trying to uplift you. So I'm going to say thank you very much, Michelle, for allowing me to work with you.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. And I want to say thank you to Donna and the other lady that came in as well. It's good. Okay. I actually believe, as I become aware again, I want to talk about Son, but I feel Son loved his motorbikes, and I do believe it's an accident on a motorbike that took him to the spirit world. But I know with Son as well, he was a little bit of, how can I put this? Again, full of life, but I know he's a bit of a Jack the Lad. So I know he loved his motorbikes, and I know his life was ended on a motorcycle.
Thank you, Phil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who recognizes this young man? Donna has her hand raised. Hi, Donna. If you could press your unmute button. Hello.
Hi, Phil.
Hello, Donna.
You've read my brother before as my son, and he did die on his motorcycle. He was my younger brother. Yes.
Okay. So I've done a reading for. Thank you for telling me that, because I can't remember. We meet so many people. So it's not son, it's brother.
Mine was correct.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
this
fine.
is who you're seeing.
Bear with me just a second. Would you understand with motorbikes that he was a bit of a daredevil?
Yes.
And it just feels that doesn't matter what bike you give him, he can ride it.
Yes.
And it feels where he would take these bikes, or some of them, to their limits.
Yes.
And when I say limits, I'm not just talking about speed here. There must be memories where you've seen him on one wheel of motorbikes.
Oh, yes. Because
it feels like I'm doing wheelies, but I'm doing it down the streets.
Yes.
And where we used to live, it was no unusual feat to see your brother backwards and forwards on a particular motorbike on the back wheel.
Yes. Yes.
And it just feels that people said, oh, it's only him, he's just doing what he does, and people would turn a blind eye.
Yes.
But would I be right in saying that with your brother, he was somebody that just wanted to enjoy life?
Yes.
And I'm not saying he broke rules, but it's got this mentality of, I'm going to bend the rules.
Oh, yes.
Now, if I said that your brother also went off-road with motorbikes?
I don't know.
Bear with me then. Where we used to live, would there have been a little bit of scrubland or an area? That's fine.
Yes.
And it just feels that if your brother saw something that looked like he could leave both wheels in the air, he would do it.
Yes.
Because it feels like I want to jump over things and just create havoc. But when I say havoc, it's not more noise than aggravating everybody, but it's just that sense of fun with him as well. But I also know he used to love going out just for rides.
Yes.
And when I say this, it's not particularly that I'm just going down the streets. I would go to either different states or different places.
I don't know.
Bear with me then, would I be right in saying there's memories of him either going through a desert area that he told you about?
Yes.
Because I know I'm not just local. I know I'm going to different places here. And I know he said no, but it's just the way that he said, no, I'm not having that. It's just the way that he is. And sometimes there must be memories of where you saw your brother on the motorbike without his helmet on.
Yes.
And I feel that was outside in the street from the home.
Yes.
And his excuse was, well, I'm just fixing my bike. I'm just trying it.
I don't know.
Because I know people have told him not to do that as well. But there must be memories where he used to have his bikes on the front and he used to not just repair them, but tinker them and do all kinds.
Yes.
And would I be right in saying he'd have scrap bikes and different kinds of bikes in the garage and stuff?
I don't know.
Okay.
He was much younger than I.
Okay. Because I just know he has this way about his mind about engines and bikes and different things here. And he wasn't happy unless he was on a bike or doing something with a bike.
Correct.
And I want to say, and he had a really good sense of humor because he says, I'm in the motorbike crew now in the spirit world. So I know he's still riding his bikes. But that's who he would be, because I just believe didn't matter what kind of weather, what kind of circumstances, nothing would stop him on the bikes.
Correct.
And would I be right in saying he took you on the back of the bike as well?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
He's got a memory of where we used to live and where he used to see him on the bikes in front of the house, where he took you either to the end of the block and back.
He may have, I just don't remember it.
And if I said you've seen him, not just doing these things in front, but you've seen him zipping out of lines of cars as well.
Yes.
Because again, it just feels where everything where you say, no, I'm going to come back at you with something else. Because I just know it's almost like he's a proper petrol head when it comes to the bikes. He just seems to love them and he's got that answer to it. But I also know that he was like this generally with people as well. He was full of life.
Yes.
And I want to say that he could turn a conversation that was serious into a little bit humorous.
Yes.
And I also believe with him that it's not just that he was humorous, he could have everybody eating out of his hand as well.
Yes.
And it's almost where you could give him a straight sentence and he could turn it into something naughty.
Yes.
Because some of the things I've just heard, I thought I can't get away with that one. Even we're a little bit more liberal here on the Sunday gathering. And I also know as well that I'm not saying he swore a lot, but he could use one or two words that were a bit naughty as well.
Yes.
Yeah. As well, because you also, even though he was your younger brother and you may not have seen him for that little bit of time, it was almost like no time had passed.
Correct. Yes.
Because he's just said it's been a minute. And I know that means it's a long time, but it's almost like no time has passed. And I know you still talk to him, you still think of him. And I know recently you've been looking at photographs where he was on a motorbike as well.
Not I, but one of our family members.
That's fine, because I know I couldn't change it because I keep on seeing photographs with him and the motorbike. So I know they've been looked at, but I know he's been talked about. And I know somebody has said he'd be causing havoc in heaven.
Yes.
Okay. Because all I can hear, do you know what? He's absolutely hilarious. All I can hear is Bat Out of Hell and the motorbike roaring. He's got the biggest, the dirtiest sounding motorbike going. And that's just who he is, I want to say here as well. And I also know that somebody in the family has been talking about getting a tattoo in memory of him.
I don't know.
And I know the tattoo they've talked about, and I know you're saying you don't know, and I'm hoping I'm going to trigger a memory. It's almost like of a motorbike.
Nobody has told me, but now I can
Bear with
find
me 1
out.
second.
Yeah.
would I be right in saying he used to have a leather jacket?
Yes.
And would I be right in saying he'd have patches sewn onto it like badges?
Yes.
And one of the badges is like a Harley Davidson badge.
Yes.
Because I know here, and would I be right in saying he wanted to be in the Harley Club?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Okay, because I know here the tattoo that I'm seeing is very much like one of the badges on the jacket, and I know it's to do with a Harley. So please remember I've mentioned that. And I know your brother would never explain anything. He would say it and you took it and you'd leave it.
Correct.
Because he will not back down on it whatsoever. But I also feel that your brother would do anything for a laugh as well.
Yes.
Because I just feel he'd do stupid things on motorbikes and it was all about getting people's reactions.
Yes.
And I know, just as I leave you with the memory, there just seems to be a real sense of fun wanting to be had. And there must be a memory for both of you. And I do believe this may have got him into the bikes, but you must remember it as well, where we went to a circus or a fair where you saw the bikes doing the wall of death.
Oh, I don't remember.
And I know it was a local traveling circus or fair that used to come to town.
Mm-hmm. Could have been, but it probably meant a lot to him and not to me.
Okay, that's fine, because I know there's just that memory. He won't change anything.
No.
So I'm going to leave his love with you and say thank you for allowing me to do this. And
you,
hopefully
Phil.
I've given you lots of information that I haven't given you before, because that's the whole point of it when you said that.
That's correct. Yeah, you
Good.
have.
Good.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. And if I could, on his behalf, he wants to leave you with a memory of him embracing you, holding you in his arms and telling you how much he loved you. And I just feel that he would do this. And I just heard the words, love you, sis. And I'm going to leave you his love and say, thank you very much.
Thank you. I was holding him when he passed and saying the same to him. So thank you.
You're welcome. Absolute welcome, Donna. It's been an absolute pleasure. Well, everybody, it's been lovely to be back with you all, and lovely to be on the gathering, and lovely to see the wonderful Sandra Champlain. I almost said your name wrong then. So I'm going to hand back over to the fabulous Miss Champlain.
Oh, thank you, fabulous Phil Dykes. We love you, and thank you for your commitment to mankind on both sides of the veil. And ladies and gentlemen, I know we all want to talk to our loved ones, and someone just recently said, may not be through a medium, it might be through media. So if we can remember our loved ones, or if you have their picture when they're healthy and well, that's who they are right now. Healthy, well, they can see our reality even though we cannot see theirs. They can multitask, they can be busy there and being with us, but you pay attention to media, to that. I'm not talking news, I'm talking about things like if you're directed to look at a certain place in a magazine or a newspaper, or you're paying attention to songs on the radio, or sometimes the messages come through other people. They're very, very subtle, or they could just be little sparks of memories that pop into your mind. That's them saying, I'm right here. Sometimes you feel their love. Please don't brush it off that it's your imagination. They love you, they are around, they are healthy, well, and you know what? We're gonna see them sometime. Like Kerry said, hopefully not too soon, but we will see them again. If you go to our main website, which is wedon'tdie.com, you click on the store page, scroll down, there's the copy of my audiobook, which is called We Don't Die. Use the coupon code FREE. Chapter 10 is about how to survive grief. Grief is the worst thing we're going to deal with as human beings, and I really want to give you everything I've got to help you through that. And while you're on that page, there's some really good, cool new things coming up. Cool things are we just opened up our September classes. Kerry and Phil have a brand new 4-session class on Tuesdays called Unlocking Your Soul, because you know we are divine souls having this human experience. And we live in the illusion of space and time here, but there are actually things we can do to tap into that divine nature of ours. So that's Tuesdays. Mondays are with Scott Milligan for Trance and the Altered States. Psychic development is on Wednesdays with Kerry and Phil, and mediumship development, it will be on Thursdays. And learning your psychic skills is the first step if you're interested in mediumship, because you can work with other people who are alive, and then you direct that to the spirit world. If you are one of our medium students, it's not too late to jump aboard. Kerry and Phil have a 5-day course starting tomorrow, I think, called the Self-Coaching Medium. Everything's recorded, so if you end up missing a day, you will get the replay of that. Also on September 3rd, for our psychic and our medium students, we have Deepening the Evidence, which is a 5-hour workshop with Kerry and Phil. And then September 10th and 11th, Kerry and Phil are doing a 2-day course called Public Presentation and Inspired Speaking. Now, you may have think that Kerry had everything she shared in her address rehearsed. She did not. She did not. She is so in the moment, so inspired by what her North Star is, as she said, and to work with her own soul and whatever powers that be to deliver the best address to you. There's actually a way to learn how to work with that power. So you do not have to be a student of ours. You can just be an interested party to take that course, Inspired Speaking and Public Presentation. So just a few thoughts from me. What I'm really left with from today, besides all the great Mama Mia music, is thinking about forgiveness, not just for ourselves, which is important, but for others as well. You know, Wayne Dyer put it his way about the venom and the snake bite, but I've always heard resentment is like taking rat poison yourself, but you're waiting for someone else to die. You know, it just festers within us. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that whatever someone did is right. It just means you're not going to hold on to it anymore. None of us can be in someone else's shoes since the beginning of time when they took their first breath. There are some people that do some very evil things. We've had people in our lives that have really hurt us. Each one of us with a set of eyes has the same fears and worries and hopes and dreams. But add on to that all the baggage of some of the things that maybe we dealt with when we were a young person. And, you know, some people just look for negative. All I can say is, if you can, let it go. Know that every human being is doing the best job they can at a particular time, right or wrong, and even have that same compassion for yourself. Don't live in a world of guilt and regret and what could have happened. If your younger self could have done something differently, you would have. So please let that go. Just know everyone is another you with hopes and dreams. And with that, your dreams matter. We live in a magical world. We do. We sure do. It's a universe ever expanding. And take Kerry's advice and be present. Find happiness. You can find it anywhere. And like that candle is so beautiful, Kerry. Thank you for sharing that. It never diminishes the flame the more we share. And the more we help light up other people, that comes right back to us. So that's it for me. I'm going to pass it over to my friends in England for the closing prayer.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Thank you for joining us for the Sunday gathering. It is a delight for us to deliver this for you. And whatever you've taken from this, please know that it is meant to be there. Whether it's a word or a sentence, it's meant to be there. If you can join me in that closing prayer. Eternal spiritual flame, we know that we take from that flame to ignite our own soul, that spiritual part of us that knows we walk our path, that we have our journey, and that we are on that journey of life. Sometimes we get lost, sometimes we get caught up in the surroundings, but allow us to always have that courage to step forward, be who we are with no apology, and to trust that we are walking our path with our true essence and with our purpose in mind. So we walk into the week to come, knowing that we are truly blessed with this gift called life on this planet on which we walk. For another week, until we meet again here. Amen.
Thank you so much, Kerry and Phil, and to our friends in the spirit world, and to you, our beautiful family community worldwide. We love you. Now, for our closing song, I just want to take you back to, I don't know what year it was, when Mamma Mia was first in New York City. I had an opportunity to go. I went by myself, purchased a single ticket, and there, at the end of the show, everybody in the whole audience was singing and dancing, all to the music of ABBA. So this is ABBA with our closing song. All right, everyone, this concludes our Sunday gathering. So if in doubt, just go dance, okay? Thank you, Kerry and Phil. We love you guys so much. Mwah. See you next week, if not sooner. Bye.